Hi everyone! Today's video is a Lolita lookbook, and I'm going to be taking you through the spring summer trends that I will hopefully be wearing for this year. I hope this video will showcase not just coordinate ideas and where you can find inspiration for your Lolita coordinates, but to also think about how to translate the mainstream fashion trends into your own Lolita fashion style. So there are 8 fashion trends that I wanted to talk about, and let's get started. So the first trend is one that is classic and comes back around every single year, and that is florals for spring. There's really nothing like fresh flowers in the spring to really remind you that the warmer months are here after a bleak winter. There is a reason why the florals just come back year after year, and it is such a timeless trend. So for the coordinate I chose to represent this sort of style, I decided to go a little bit more antique, doll aesthetic with an emphasis on design. So I'm wearing an Angelic Pretty JSK that has lovely floral fabric as well as amazing scallop detailing and ruffling on the front. It is a really gorgeous old school piece that I personally really love, and pairing it with an Innocent World bonnet really brings out the antique doll themes of this coordinate. And what's really satisfying about this coordinate is that the antique whites or ivories just really match and work well together. I feel like this is the epitome of a classic spring, old school coordinate. The next trend is actually not around a theme. It is actually a color, and that is butter yellow. I've been noticing this color a lot, not just in the shops, but in online spaces as well, and that could really just be my algorithm. But I really love this bright pastel yellow shade. It is so bright and fun, and it can lend itself to a variety of colors, especially in the pastel spectrum. The color itself I think would suit a lot of skin tones, and especially if you have a darker skin tone, like perfect. So how I coordinated butter yellow for myself is that I coordinated it with my favorite color, which is Sax Blue. And I personally think that this color combination of the butter yellow with the Sax Blue is really so bright and fun and very refreshing. But the coordinate for today just really emphasizes that lovely color palette. As a side note, I really liked how my hairstyle turned out, and that's just a subtle styling choice that you can make to change out your coordinate as well as the feel of the coordinate. I think this coordinate is really cute and so bright and cheerful. For trend number 3, I noticed in mainstream fashion that athleisure is still here to stay. And to me, athleisure and Lolita fashion doesn't really mix just because of the fabric as well as the sleekness. Very minimalist lines close to the body, that sort of thing. So how I pulled the athleisure casual feel into Lolita fashion is through the relaxed fit as well as specific items. So for this coordinate, I am wearing Angelic Pretty sun visor, which is a very sleek sort of headdress, and then the cutso hoodie is the Angelic Pretty Lovely Cutso OP, I believe, just as a sort of cropped hoodie. And then by pairing it with the skirt and the ballet sneakers and the short socks, it is really giving casual Lolita, and I think really suits the laid back feel that athleisure has. I personally really like this coordinate. However, you will not see me exercising in this coordinate. Another trend that is still going strong is the coastal grandma fisherman core sort of trend, and as we get more into the summer months, I feel like this fashion trend will be a lot more prevalent than it is, especially at the beginning of the year. If you were interested, I do have a fisherman core lookbook that you can check out, but that was filmed in winter. So as we get more into the warmer months, we can really see the fashion trend just really taking root. To be honest, the marine theme isn't new to Lolita fashion, so I feel like it lends very well to the trend in itself. So for my own take on this fashion trend, I pulled out a piece that I haven't worn in a while, and that is Alice in the Pirates Moonlit Sirene one piece. And for this coordinate, I really wanted to focus more on a pirate sort of theme. So the headpiece that I'm wearing is a mini tricorn hat that I borrowed, and then the lariat is actually the matching lariat to the series. I'm really hoping that more pirate-based items will be coming out. Things like the long billowy sleeves and the flowy fabrics seen in sort of pirate looks. As a side note, I decided to put on a ginger wig just because I wanted the lariat to be seen a little bit more clearly and to have a big color contrast to the headdress itself. So this sort of coordinate is actually really out of my own comfort zone in terms of how many things that went into it, but I think it turned out very lovely. For trend number 5, I have been noticing a lot of people getting into corporate workwear and more minimalist clothing, possibly due to an economic downturn, or that corporations are just seen as a way to survive in this sort of economy. And not gonna lie, the frivolous, frilly nature of Lolita fashion, I feel like doesn't really lend very well to business casual sort of wear. However, there are pieces out there that I think can work for Lolita fashion business wear. Things like blazers, as well as the cut of the garment, or just more simplistic fabric that can be used for this sort of fashion trend. So translating that into Lolita was a little bit difficult, but I managed. So I pulled out my A4 size bag that is going to hold all of my important business documents, and the blazer is really giving corporate vibes. It is the item that really brings this fashion trend to life. As you'll notice in this coordinate, everything else is pretty minimal. The head bow itself is very small and flat to the head, and I am wearing a bun on the side, once again trying to indicate that sleek minimalism sort of feel. And with the basic blouse and the no pattern detailing on the socks, it is a pretty toned down coordinate that I think works really well with the corporate workwear. So if Lolita was to work in a corporate job, I feel like this can sort of pass, especially if I remove the rosette on the chest. Of course, I don't work a corporate job, but I feel like if I was a business person, this is what I would be wearing to my business meetings. That really could have been an email. You know what I mean? The next fashion trend that I have been noticing a lot is that food is now in fashion. Like food on your items, very in. And this possibly could be because that food is now considered a status symbol, because have you seen the price of eggs? Oh, crazy. So now we're putting foods on our clothing because that is literally all we're thinking about 24/7, I think. Lolita fashion has always had sweets and desserts on the prints, so this sort of fashion trend is really on par with what you would find in the fashion. So for myself, I decided to pull out Melty Cream Donut and paired it with my biscuit bag as well as some chocolate leggings. I personally really love the toned down nature of this coordinate, in which I feel like it centers the donuts that are on this print and the amount of food that is in this coordinate as well. So yeah, food as a fashion trend is kind of interesting. Next up is an attempt at overdressing or adding to noise pollution. I've noticed a lot of bag charms and accessorizing that really showcases your personality. So the small little tchotchkes and trinkets that you have really just showcase you as a human being and how you want to be perceived by the public. And I thought that was really interesting. How I translated this into my coordinate though, I feel like I didn't do a very good job of it. I tried to decorate my little bag, but I feel like I don't have a good variety of little trinkets that blend together very well. So I feel like this ended up being a little basic coordinate, and that I really just coordinated around the Maison de Fleur bag. On this coordinate though, I am wearing a bonnet and bunny ears, so that adds a little bit of texture. Also, as a fun side note, the only reason why I'm wearing a bunny head bow is because the blouse that I'm wearing does have bunny ears on the back, so mentally in my brain that blended together well. Wearing a very chunky big necklace and a little brooch from Simi, I feel like this coordinate isn't the best sort of representation of the bag charm or just accessorizing too much, so that is something I'm going to definitely be working on. But I still think that it is a solid coordinate, just not right for the theme. And essentially I want to include this coordinate because even if you don't follow the trend specifically, it's fine. Perfection is very hard to achieve, and it's okay to try and fail. And what's important is to just try again. So this is a trend that I'm going to hopefully be trying again in the future, and I'm really hoping to really contribute to the noise pollution. So the last coordinate is actually something that I have been seeing more in online spaces than physically mainstream in Western print magazines sort of thing. And that is clowncore or kidcore. So going back to a more nostalgic time with bright fun colors. And I feel like this fashion trend is really just about escapism and bringing more whimsy and fun into a dreary life. So this is my take on this fashion trend. I'm wearing an angelic pretty circus print with the main color palette of a cobalt blue as well as a bright red. So this sort of coordinate is very out of my comfort zone. I don't usually wear these sorts of bright clashing colors. Not gonna lie, I really think that the color palette really works well together, and creating this coordinate had a really good sense of play for me that I feel is lacking in my everyday sort of style. So it was really fun to put together this coordinate and think of the theme and invoke a sort of nostalgic vibe. I don't know if this is a style that I would personally continue to wear, but I really appreciated being able to actually have items to put together this bright, fun look. So those are the current spring summer fashion trends for this year that I challenged myself to coordinate and style around. Let me know what your favorite was and what your takeaway from this video is, as well as what sort of style that you're looking forward to wearing more of this spring and summer. Thank you very much for watching today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!